All right, welcome back to Harrelson Trumpets. We're doing another tour today, so you can see how Harrelson Trumpets are made. And really, the first thing we're going to do is install a VGR. So I was just in the machine shop grabbing the tripod. We have to go next door here to the assembly shop. And I've got a VGR already started, so we're going to start with that. This is a Yamaha trumpet, and I've taken the top brace off. I took the receiver off, and we're changing the water key as well because they wanted a Saturn. So these are all the components that were on there. And the next step is to put this VGR onto the lead pipe. And I've already started sanding it, so I will show you how that's done. So the first thing we need to do is just determine how far this has to go on, and I happen to know already that it's 1.25 inches, and I measured it out and put a scribe line on there, and that's what I've been sanding towards, is that line. I'm putting it on right now, and there's twisting, giving a little pressure to see if it leaves a burnish mark, and it did. So there's a slight burnish mark, see that right there? And there's probably one all the way around, or at least most of the way around. Depends on how evenly I sand. So it's right here. I need to go almost 1/4 of an inch further. So because I have to go further, I am going to grab some shock roll. And if you don't have some of this and you need some for your installation, then just give us a call and we'll sell you a little bit. It's not real expensive, like probably I don't know, $1 or $1.50 a foot. I just put it in, sliced it into a smaller width, and I'm gonna get it wet. I get it wet so that I don't get the dust all over the place. Now I'm gonna sand right where I had that burnish mark and a little past it. Speed is your friend here, so the more surface speed you get, the faster you're gonna cut through that silver and brass. And then you want to change, of course, the area you're sanding radially. It also helps to just wet it again and get some of that brass off of the sandpaper so that it works better, because if it loads up, it's not going to work as well. And I'm going to turn the trumpet over to hit from the underside. Now I'll just kind of blend it all so we don't have any steps. And I'm going to wipe it off and test that VGR receiver again. Okay, so we'll put this back on. Now it looks like we've made some headway. So now let me just clean this up a little bit so I don't get any grit inside the horn. And I'm going to just gently twist it and then unscrew it and see how far in we are. It looks like we're all the way. Okay, so that lead pipe is inside there and it's touching the ledge to the VGR receiver. And this is called the mount. This is the receiver, this is the mount. Those two, of course, work together. The insert gets put on right here. This one's in silver. You can see I sanded a little beyond where I need it to be. The customer already knows there's going to be some brass showing, and they may or may not choose to have a jeweler or somebody else pen plate that. It is something we can do, but with our schedule, it's not something we can do this summer. We just have too many things going on. But that is a simple process. You can buy a pen plating kit. If you have spot wear on your horn, you could replate areas of the horn fairly simply. Now you can see I've got that on really tight. I can't get it off. What I need to do is screw this back on And then I want to orient it, and I'll show you why. There's this little spanner wrench hole right there, and I want that to face down. I don't want it to face out, mainly because this client may decide to have something engraved on the receiver someday, or it just doesn't look that great to have that part sticking out. Now, because I know it all fits, I'm going to flux it and just get that part done. So you should always use flux, and if you're not sure what type, then when you buy your solder, look at the brand and see if you can match up the type that works with it. And you don't want to use electrical solder, you want to use plumbing solder. If you're not sure and you can't find it, just give me a call and I'll help you out with that, because we could send you just a little bit of what we use. Now, I've already put a little mark with marker right there. That little purple mark is lining this up so that I don't have to think about which way is up. I already know if I line that up, this little tab will face down. Even though it's up right now, it will still face down. And that's because this threaded mount is a double threaded system. So I can screw it on and have this little notch up, or it can go down because there's two sets of threads. Now I've got it all set up, that's fine. The next thing we need to do is take this brace, the original brace, and put it into position for the new setup. So basically it has to go in this way, the opposite of where it was, because originally it was this way against the receiver. So I need to clean it up and clean up some of the silver on this horn, and then put it in that position, clamp it, and solder it. So first thing I'm going to do is just scrape any remaining solder off so that that's not on there anymore. And you don't want to have the old solder on for many reasons. One is it might not stick. And after I have that scraped, I'm going to go a little further and sand it off with some Scotch-Brite. You could use sandpaper. And I could also use a power tool, which is faster, but you guys probably won't have a power tool, so I want to show you how you can do it without. Okay, that's good. You could sand it all the way to brass. That's not a bad idea. I'm going to grab a little bit of 400 grit sandpaper and just get it down a little further. Okay, that's good. Got the brass showing on that one. And I've got the brass showing on this one. I'm not going to take it all the way down to brass, although I could. It's not really necessary if this is not a really old horn. This is a fairly new Yamaha. Older solders, you probably need to get it down to brass. So now I'm just taking some Scotch-Brite and roughing and cleaning the surface where this brace is going to be soldered on. You want it to be perfectly clean so everything sticks. And then I'm going to flux the brace. So just put a little on there and a little over here. I'll grab a couple clamps. I want to pull this back as far as I can. So the brace, I want it to be mounted as far back as I can. And that's because it actually improves the standing wave efficiency on some partials that normally would have more of an issue. So if I can get it back as far as possible, then the horn will actually play a little bit better on certain notes. And on a Yamaha, it tends to be the G, the F, the G, and the A right at the top and above the staff. So if I get that far enough back, it will play better. And now I've got it all clamped and fluxed and it's ready to go. Everything's in position. And all I have to do now is solder it. So you can see that's actually been a pretty quick process. It probably took me 3 or 4 minutes to disassemble it. And typically you can do this whole process your first time in under 2 hours. It usually takes me under an hour. So let's take it next door.
All right, so now we're ready to solder.
It is now soldered, and we can take a look, inspect this, and see how it looks. So the goal here is to not put too much solder on and not make too much of a mess, but also have a nice, clean, solid solder joint. So each of these, you want to have maybe just a hair too much solder showing, and we can scrape it off. But overall, you really don't want to have too much cleanup. So it's a matter of finding the right amount of solder to do the work. And you saw I use Q-tips to pull it off. I can also use a paper towel as it's hot to pull off excess solder. The next step will be to clean all this up, and I'll actually put it on Christine's bench and let her do that part for me. And we'll just get these clamps off, put those back, and then we'll take it over to her bench. All right, and that's actually better lighting. We can see it a little better. So that's it. That's the VGR system. And if you haven't seen that before, then you can see it's not that hard to install. These are on sale on our website right now. I think they're normally like $350, and they're probably, or $395. I think they're like over $100 less right now. And that's simply because we were out of them for 6 months. I just made some more. We have them in stock, and now you guys sell them, or you can have me install it, and we charge you a fee for that. And the only problem with having me install it is if you're somewhere around the country and you have to ship your horn, there's always risk when shipping your horn. So I don't really recommend shipping your horn a lot unless absolutely necessary. And while we're here, let's look around in the shop, see what else is going on. Here we have a Muse trumpet in silver that is almost finished, and this one will be shipping out probably in the next day or two. That one's nearly done. Here are a couple of my older instruments that I bought back from a collector. This was an experimental horn. This was the loudest and most efficient lead horn I ever built. It's called the Satellite, right there. And the Satellite used to be in gold, and somebody did not take care of it, and it became this kind of mess. So we're refinishing it. And then here is a mass trumpet, and I only built a couple versions of this. Again, these were experiments in physics, trying to understand exactly where we could brace things like the bells to increase efficiency, but then also achieve maximum resonance. So these are quite old instruments, you know, probably 15 to 20 years old. So yeah, that's what we've got there. So today you got to see a VGR assembly. I want to show you some of the other stuff I'm working on. Over here we have our inlay bench, and I'll do a more in-depth video on the inlay bench and what we do here. But just quickly, if you were on a shop tour, you would get to see this. This is where we set all the different types of inlays. It's not where we cut them. They're already cut. Either we cut them on the lapidary equipment or the laser or some other way by hand, and then we start to fit them. Actually, the custom fitting of each button to each inlay is done at the lathe. So I take each finger button and I cut the recess exactly to the dimensions of the inlay. So you can see this one is not in there yet. And we have to make sure we get the same diameter and the depth to make it a perfect inlay. Some are set with epoxy, a two-part epoxy that holds them really well. And some are set with a system that has a bezel that screws on over top, and that's what this one is. It hasn't been finished. You can see it's kind of rough on the outside, but this bezel top actually fits over top of the inlay with a little lip, and it holds it in there permanently. And that is the real permanent solution. These technically are going to last a very, very long time, maybe for your whole lifetime, but there is always the chance that you know, if it's not the tightest fit, and they usually are, but if it isn't, that it could pop out, especially if you drop one on a hard surface. But then it's probably destroyed anyhow. Here are some that are complete. So these ones are all finished. You can see again, these are the bezel set ones. And the bezel set ones are called captive inlays. So it's a captive system. I'll show you what it looks like. See these little pieces here? These are the little tiny thin bezel that screws over top of the base, and that's what the base looks like. And then that gets screwed onto the threaded section that fits each brand. So you can see we have a lot of stuff in each one of these drawers, and all of that is devoted to making finger button inlays. And here's some of the inlay material that I use. This is all new stuff that I got in, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. Different types of dichrolam. So this is a new one we've never seen. This one is a type of copper that's mixed with carbon fiber, and we've got a bunch of other ones that are coming as well, but just a lot of really fun stuff. And is our laser, which is right in front of me. It's not turned on, but I'm going to show anyhow. Our fiber laser. So we have a lot of different lasers here, and as you can see, this one, Jen is running it today, or she will be, and it has engraved something on this top cap. So it is rough on the inside until we clean it up. So it looks a little rough right now, but when it's finished, all we have to do is touch it for like 1 second with some Scotch-Brite, and then you can see the actual engraving. And the reason it looks that way is it just kind of burns off a little bit. But we can see some pieces that are finished. Like here's a coin that we did, and you can see It is very, very detailed. So those little trumpets, let's zoom in on those. You can see they're all little tiny trumpets. Pretty decent accuracy, considering, look how, how small that really is. So this, we make coins, we make custom coins. For occasions, we make little containers as well. So we call them cointainers. And we make all those things as custom options. Here you can see Jen is working on finishing up all of those, and these are the ones she's already done. So there's lots that are engraved, and of course, and Dreams trumpets, which is a limited edition. It will launch in July. And I'll say this, if you're interested in a new trumpet in the price range or even more affordable than a high-end Yamaha or Bach artist model, you're going to get a much better horn from us, better quality craftsmanship. And it's basically because we're not a huge corporation with too many moving pieces, and we can build these instruments really to be extremely responsive, efficient, and a lot of fun. So you probably want to check out the Rumors and Dreams trumpets. Those will start at $4,000, go up to $4,500. But if you pre-order one in July, you are going to save $1,000, and in some instances even more than that. So start thinking about that. If you're thinking, hey, I want a new Harrelson trumpet, but my budget is $3,000, then you may want a Rumors or Dreams trumpet. And Rumors is the lead and commercial version, and Dreams is the all-around versatile version. And you will see those on my Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook coming soon. And after all that, you'll see them on our website. Okay, guys, that's all for today's tour. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.